Welcome to Walking with Jesus Bible Study. We are going to be in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, verses 10. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sakes. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And I'm going to repeat that. Sorry, I didn't realize that the camera off of it. I do that a lot. My bad. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities and reproaches and necessities and persecutions and distresses for Christ's sakes. For when I am weak, then I am strong. You know, when the verses in the scriptures tells us that we should find joy and be glad in all things, we kind of find that very difficult and hard to do in certain things. But when we are going through the fire, when we are going through tests and trials and tribulations, we got to remember that all lessons are blessings. And that, you know, some days it's just hard for us to make it through when we're going through, especially through mental warfares, and or any kind of warfare for that matter. You know, and you know, a lot of warfare is very much mental. So it's very hard for people to overcome such things, because it's not just a battle with the enemy, it's a battle against yourself. And so it's very hard to overcome these things. But one thing that you could do to help you, and as a reminder, is to write on a piece of paper somewhere that wherever you're at, you always tend to read, and place it to where you can read it every day. You know, I tend to find that if you put it in the bathroom, which sounds really weird, right across from where you sit over the toilet, the things that you want to overcome or that are very important reminder that you stare at each and every single day, in a way to retrain your brain and to read it every day, that it helps you to overcome, and is a daily reminder. And it's there right in front of your face, because you go to a bathroom a lot. Especially if you have time and you forget your phone on the way there, you have something to read and to look at. But you retrain your brain and refresh your brain and remind yourself that, you know, I'd rather be in this hell than the other, because each day, as a child of God, this is the only hell that you're going to see. So if we find it like, man, you know, this is hard, I can't believe, you know, I got to go through this, but I'd rather go through this than go through the other here. And it makes it easier to deal with. And another thing also, right, and try to remind myself that God came and he has suffered. He is beaten. He is mocked. He is going through the worst every day. He feels that pain. You know how you get that pain just from when one person does you that way? Imagine having millions of people tugging at your heart in that same way, and yet you continue to choose love. That if God goes through that each and every single day, but he continues to go, that I can definitely take this suffering and this pain and this sorrow for God, because he is worth it. He does it for me each and every single day. You know, we fail to remember that each day God pours out miracles into our lives. Just because it's not parting a big red sea doesn't mean it's not a miracle. Doesn't mean that he doesn't give us blessings. There's too many people that look at blessings and miracles and have the wrong mindset of it. Yes, it could be big and major things, but you forget that there is many small things that is way more, 10 times more important than a house and a job. It's the fact that you got life, another day to live in. Each day is a new day to start over, a new day to get things right. Though we may fail, we're going to fail lots of times because we're not perfect. And we're struggling to try to get it right. And we're in the middle of a war. So we're going to have some setbacks. Because we're constantly, every day is a battle. Remember, this is a war. And the war is not over until Jesus comes back. So every day you're in a battle. So you're going to win some battles or you're going to lose some battles. But it's not over. And remember, in the end, you're going to have the victory. So we got to face these battles with pride and confidence, knowing, hey, you know what? Excuse me. Even if I lose this battle today, tomorrow's another battle, and I may just win that one. That even my failures are still lessons that I'm going to learn, ways to overcome what I'm going through, so that next time when the enemy throws this at me, I'm going to be able to defeat it. And that's what failures are. They're just another step, another ring in the ladder to get yourself up out of that particular pit, out of that particular trap or snare that the enemy has placed you in. You know, and sometimes we beat ourselves up. And it is true, we can be our own worst enemies because it is our mind that causes us more damage of beating ourselves up and making us feel not worthy or such failures when we're going through some things like, oh, you know what, God, I was in this pit and I just came out of it and I find myself back in the same pit. Here's the thing. You may have fallen into a pit, but what if it's not the same pit? We keep thinking that we fell right back into the same pit. No, you overcome that. You just fell into another trap that the enemy's placed you in to try to defeat you. And so you're beating yourself up and you're telling yourself, oh man, I fell back in the same pit. It's not the same pit. It's something new. And there is times that we can fall in the same pit because we haven't learned all that we need to learn, but it's okay. It's okay to learn to go through the same lessons. That's what it's all about. Because sometimes we need to see it from this angle, from that angle, to really, truly overcome it. Because sometimes the first time that we're in a lesson or a test, we have a tunnel vision where we only see the one thing. And the only way to overcome it is to have a full view, a panoramic view of everything, and the best to overcome it. And the only way we can get the panoramic view is to go and overcome is to go through that test multiple times so we can get this point of view, and then that point of view, and then this point of view. That way, so when we're looking at it, we have a whole panoramic view of everything to overcome. Because the enemy, you got to remember, you've only been on this earth for so many odd years it's been on it, and the enemy, the devil, has been alive for at least 6,000 or 7,000 years. That is a lot of time. That is a lot of things that he has realized and knows and been through. You've got to realize he's been doing this for thousands of years. You've only been doing it for such and such years. So it's okay. But remember, even though he's been doing it for these thousands of years, God has given you the power and the authority to overcome those thousands of years knowledge with your somewhat odd years. Your somewhat little years is more powerful than his thousands of years. So don't let it get to you. Remember who you are. Remember who lives inside of you. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That he gave you the power and the authority to overcome.